What if I told you that a 63-year-old grandfather woke up one morning feeling 20 years younger? Not because of pills, not because of surgery, but because he learned to gently press 3 specific points on his body before bed? Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because this simple habit is changing how many men over 60 are starting their mornings. As men move past the age of 60, one of the most common and misunderstood changes they experience is a reduction in morning firmness. Many immediately assume this means their desire is fading, their masculinity is declining, or that their body is simply shutting down. This belief can be deeply damaging because it creates fear, embarrassment, and a sense of permanent loss. In reality, for most men, desire remains very much alive. What changes is not the mind or the will, but the efficiency of blood flow and nerve communication that support natural physical responses, especially during sleep and early morning hours. The male body relies heavily on healthy circulation to function optimally. During youth, blood vessels are flexible, responsive, and quick to expand. Nerve signals travel fast and clearly between the brain and the lower body. With age, however, blood vessels naturally stiffen, the inner lining of arteries becomes less elastic, and circulation slows. At the same time, nerve signaling can become weaker due to years of stress, inflammation, inactivity, or metabolic changes. These shifts happen gradually, so many men don't notice them until a specific function like morning firmness becomes inconsistent. Morning firmness is largely a circulation-based phenomenon. During deep sleep, the nervous system shifts into a repair and regeneration mode. Blood flow patterns change, hormones fluctuate, and the body performs internal maintenance. If circulation is strong and nerves are responsive, the result is a natural morning response. When circulation is compromised, the signal may still be sent, but the body cannot fully respond. This is why desire can remain strong. Thoughts, attraction, and interest are still present, while the physical response feels weaker or absent. Unfortunately, society often frames this change as a loss of manhood rather than a mechanical issue. This leads many older men to suffer in silence or rush toward medications without understanding the root cause. While medication can be helpful in some cases, it does not address the deeper issue of circulation health and nerve communication. Worse, it can reinforce the belief that the body is broken rather than simply undersupported. Understanding that blood flow is the primary factor shifts the mindset from hopelessness to empowerment. Circulation is influenced by daily habits, movement, sleep quality, stress levels, breathing patterns, hydration, and even posture. Long periods of sitting, shallow breathing, chronic tension in the hips and pelvis, and poor sleep all restrict blood flow to the lower body. Over time, this creates a pattern where the body stops prioritizing circulation in that area, especially at night when overall blood pressure naturally drops. Nerve signaling plays an equally important role. The nervous system is like an electrical network. When pathways are underused or constantly stressed, signals weaken. Gentle stimulation, relaxation, and mindful practices can help re-educate these pathways, reminding the brain and body how to communicate effectively. This is why non-invasive approaches that focus on circulation and nervous system awareness often lead to gradual but meaningful improvements. Another overlooked factor is psychological stress. Worrying about performance activates the sympathetic nervous system, the same system responsible for fight or flight responses. This state constricts blood vessels and directly opposes the relaxation needed for healthy circulation. When a man believes his desire is gone, anxiety increases, further worsening the physical response. Recognizing that desire is still present, but temporarily unsupported, breaks this cycle and allows the body to relax and recover. A short example illustrates this clearly. A 62-year-old man noticed his morning firmness had become rare and assumed it was simply old age. Despite still feeling desire and emotional closeness with his partner, he felt discouraged and embarrassed. After learning that circulation was the real issue, he focused on improving sleep, reducing pelvic tension, and practicing gentle daily stimulation to improve blood flow. Within a few weeks, he noticed deeper sleep and warmer sensations in his lower body. One morning, he woke up with a natural response he hadn't felt in years. What surprised him most was realizing his desire had never disappeared. It had only been waiting for his body to catch up. This understanding changes everything. Aging does not erase desire, it challenges circulation and communication. When men stop blaming themselves and start supporting their bodies, improvement becomes not only possible but realistic. The body is not failing, it is adapting, and with the right signals, it can adapt back. As men grow older, the communication between the brain and the lower body often becomes less efficient, not because the system is broken, but because it has become quieter over time. The nervous system operates through signals that travel along established pathways, much like roads. When those roads are used frequently, signals move quickly and clearly. When they are used less often or remain under constant tension, the signals weaken. Targeted pressure works by gently reactivating these pathways, reminding the nervous system how to communicate effectively with the areas responsible for circulation and responsiveness. The pelvic region, inner thighs, and lower abdomen are rich in nerve endings that connect directly to the spinal cord and brain centers involved in hormonal regulation, blood vessel expansion, and muscle relaxation. These areas act as relay stations. When they receive input through gentle pressure, they send feedback to the brain, signaling that the area is active, safe, and responsive. This feedback loop is essential because the brain controls blood flow indirectly through nerve signals that tell blood vessels when to relax and widen. With age, this loop can become disrupted. Long hours of sitting, reduced movement, chronic stress, and shallow breathing all contribute to decreased nerve sensitivity in the lower body. Over time, the brain begins to prioritize other systems, assuming this region no longer needs frequent attention. This is not a conscious decision, it is a form of neurological efficiency. The body adapts to patterns it experiences most often. If a pathway is rarely stimulated, the brain simply uses it less. Targeted pressure reverses this process in a simple but powerful way. By applying gentle, consistent stimulation to key areas, you are creating a clear sensory signal. The nerves detect pressure and send information upward to the brain. The brain then responds by increasing awareness, improving circulation signals, and gradually restoring responsiveness. This process is not about force or intensity. In fact, excessive pressure can activate protective tension rather than relaxation. The goal is calm, deliberate stimulation that tells the nervous system there is no threat. One important aspect of this method is consistency. The nervous system learns through repetition. A single session may create temporary awareness, but regular practice builds stronger neural connections. Over time, the brain begins to anticipate the signal, making the response faster and more natural. This is similar to how balance improves when someone practices standing on one leg daily. The body adapts because it receives repeated feedback. Another critical factor is timing. Practicing gentle pressure in the evening or before sleep is especially effective because the nervous system is shifting toward repair mode. During this time, the parasympathetic nervous system becomes more active, promoting relaxation, circulation, and tissue recovery. When targeted pressure is applied during this state, the signals are more easily integrated, supporting healthier nighttime circulation patterns that influence morning responsiveness. Mental state also plays a role. When pressure is applied with calm attention rather than anxiety or expectation, the brain associates the sensation with safety. This reduces stress hormones that constrict blood vessels. As stress decreases, circulation improves naturally. This is why targeted pressure is often combined with slow breathing or relaxation practices to amplify its effect. It is important to understand that this approach does not force a response. Instead, it removes obstacles that prevent the body from responding on its own. The nervous system is designed to self-regulate when given the right input. Gentle stimulation acts as a reminder, not a command. Over time, this reminder helps restore balance between the brain, nerves, and blood vessels. A short example makes this clearer. A 65-year-old man noticed that although his desire remained strong, his body felt disconnected, especially in the mornings. He learned about targeted pressure and began practicing it gently each night for a few minutes, without rushing or expectation. After about 10 days, he noticed increased warmth and awareness in his lower body. After 3 weeks, his sleep improved and he began waking with a natural firmness more frequently. What surprised him most was not the physical change, but the feeling that his body was responding again without effort. The signals had not been lost, they had simply needed reactivation. Targeted pressure works because the body listens when spoken to in the right language. Through gentle, consistent stimulation, nerve-brain communication becomes clearer, circulation improves, and natural. Responsiveness can gradually return, even later in life. As men age, One of the most overlooked barriers to healthy circulation and natural morning firmness is not lack of stimulation, but excess tension. The body cannot respond fully when it is constantly braced, tight, or stressed. The hips, pelvis, and lower back are especially prone to holding deep, unconscious tension accumulated over years of sitting, physical labor, emotional stress, and poor posture. This tension acts like a clamp on blood vessels and nerves, subtly restricting flow even when the desire and neurological signals are still present. The human body is designed to function through balance between activation and relaxation. Stimulation sends signals to the nervous system to increase awareness and responsiveness, but relaxation is what allows those signals to translate into physical results. Blood vessels expand most effectively in a relaxed state. Muscles release their grip. Nerves transmit signals more clearly. When the pelvic region is chronically tight, it sends the opposite message to the brain, that the area is under stress and should be protected, not opened. Many men unknowingly live in a constant low-level fight-or-flight state. This state activates the sympathetic nervous system, which prioritizes survival over restoration. In this mode, blood is directed toward the heart and major muscles, while peripheral areas receive less flow. Over time, this becomes a habit the body doesn't question. Even during sleep, residual tension in the hips and lower back can prevent full relaxation, limiting nighttime circulation when the body normally repairs and renews itself. Relaxation is especially critical during sleep, because this is when natural morning firmness is formed. During deep sleep, the parasympathetic nervous system takes over. Hormones fluctuate, tissues regenerate, and blood flow patterns shift. If the pelvic muscles remain tight, they physically compress blood vessels and interfere with this process. No amount of stimulation during the day can fully compensate for restricted circulation at night. This is why some men feel desire but wake up without the physical response they expect. Pressing the right points works not just because it stimulates nerves, but because it encourages release. Gentle, sustained pressure signals muscles to soften rather than contract. When applied calmly, without force, it tells the nervous system that the area is safe. As muscles relax, blood vessels are no longer compressed, allowing circulation to improve naturally. This effect is subtle at first, but powerful over time. The hips and pelvis are central hubs of movement and stability. They connect the upper and lower body in support posture. When these areas are tight, the lower back often compensates, creating a chain of tension that further restricts blood flow. Releasing these regions improves overall alignment and reduces strain on the nervous system. Many men notice that as pelvic tension decreases, they not only experience better circulation but also improved sleep quality, reduced lower back discomfort, and a greater sense of bodily ease. Breathing plays an important supporting role. Slow, deep breathing during relaxation helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, reinforcing the body's ability to let go. When breathing is shallow, muscles tend to stay tense. When breathing is deep and steady, the body naturally relaxes. Combining gentle pressure with calm breathing creates a feedback loop that enhances circulation without effort. It is important to understand that relaxation is not passivity. It is an active physiological state that allows the body to function efficiently. Many men believe they need to do more or push harder to regain physical responses. In reality, doing less tension, less force, less anxiety often produces better results. The body responds best when it feels supported rather than pressured. A short example illustrates this clearly. A 64-year-old man struggled with stiffness in his hips and chronic lower back tightness from years of desk work. He noticed that even when he felt mentally interested, his mornings lacked physical responsiveness. Instead of focusing on stimulation alone, he began spending a few minutes each night gently releasing tension around his hips and lower abdomen while breathing slowly. After about 2 weeks, he reported deeper sleep and waking up feeling physically looser. Shortly after, he began noticing natural morning firmness returning more consistently. What changed was not his desire, but his body's ability to relax enough to allow blood flow to do its job. Relaxation is not optional, it is foundational. Without it, stimulation struggles to reach its destination. When tension is released, circulation improves, nerve signals travel freely, and the body regains its natural rhythm. For men over 60, learning to relax deeply may be one of the most powerful steps toward restoring healthy morning responses and overall vitality. One of the biggest mistakes men make when trying to restore natural morning firmness after 60 is expecting instant results. The body does not work like a switch, it works like a system that learns through repetition. Consistency is what teaches the nervous system, blood vessels, and muscles to change their behavior over time. When a gentle practice is repeated daily, especially before sleep, the body begins to recognize it as a new normal rather than a temporary signal. The nervous system is highly adaptive. It constantly rewires itself based on what it experiences most often. If circulation to the lower body has been weak for years due to inactivity, tension, stress, or poor sleep, the brain gradually reduces how much attention it gives that area. This is not punishment or failure, it is efficiency. The body invests energy where it believes it is most needed. A consistent nightly practice sends a different message. It tells the brain that this area matters again, that it should be included in repair and circulation priorities. Nighttime is especially important because sleep is when the body does most of its healing. During deep sleep, the parasympathetic nervous system becomes dominant. This system supports relaxation, hormone regulation, tissue repair, and healthy blood flow. When a man practices gentle stimulation or relaxation techniques before bed, he is setting the stage for better internal conditions throughout the night. Over time, the body begins to associate nighttime with improved circulation patterns, making natural morning responses more likely. Inconsistent effort confuses the nervous system. Doing something once or twice creates awareness, but it does not build trust. The body needs repeated signals to believe that a change is permanent. This is similar to physical training. Lifting weights once does not build strength, lifting them consistently does. The same principle applies here. Each session is not meant to fix the problem immediately, but to reinforce a message. That message, repeated daily, reshapes how the body responds during rest. Consistency also reduces anxiety, which is a hidden obstacle for many men. When someone checks daily for results, frustration builds, activating stress responses that restrict circulation. A regular routine removes pressure. The practice becomes part of daily self-care rather than a test. As stress decreases, blood vessels relax and nerve signals travel more freely. Ironically, letting go of urgency often speeds up improvement. Another important factor is habit formation. When a practice is done at the same time each night, the body begins to anticipate it. This anticipation itself activates relaxation responses. The brain recognizes the pattern and starts preparing for rest more efficiently. Over weeks, this can improve sleep depth, breathing patterns, and overall recovery. Morning changes then emerge naturally as a byproduct of better nighttime regulation rather than forced effort. It is also important to understand that progress is often subtle at first. Men may notice warmer sensations, improved relaxation, deeper sleep, or better mood before noticing physical morning changes. These signs indicate that circulation and nerve communication are improving beneath the surface. Stopping too early, because results are not dramatic, often prevents the full benefit from unfolding. Consistency builds confidence as well. When a man commits to a daily practice, he regains a sense of control over his body. This psychological shift is powerful. Confidence lowers stress hormones and improves hormonal balance. Over time, mental reassurance and physical improvement reinforce each other, creating lasting change rather than temporary improvement. A short example illustrates this clearly. A 61-year-old man began a gentle nightly routine with no immediate expectations. During the first week, nothing obvious changed, but he noticed he was sleeping more soundly. In the second week, he felt more relaxed in the mornings and less stiffness in his lower body. By the fourth week, he woke up one morning with a natural firmness that surprised him. What mattered most was not that it happened once, but that it began happening more often. His body had learned a new rhythm because he showed up consistently without force. Long-term improvement is never about intensity, it is about repetition. When practiced regularly, especially before sleep, gentle methods train the nervous system to restore healthier circulation patterns naturally. The body repairs itself when given the same supportive signal again and again. For men over 60, consistency is not optional. It is the key that unlocks lasting change. Confidence and hormonal balance are deeply connected, especially in men over 60, yet this relationship is often misunderstood. Many men believe confidence is purely psychological, something you either have or lose with age. In reality, confidence is strongly influenced by what is happening inside the body. Hormones, circulation, and nerve signaling constantly communicate with the brain, shaping mood, motivation, self-belief, and physical responsiveness. When this internal communication weakens, confidence often fades, not because the man has changed, but because his body is sending quieter signals. Testosterone plays a central role in this process, but not in the exaggerated way it is often portrayed. Testosterone is not just about strength or desire. It influences energy levels, mental clarity, assertiveness, and emotional stability. As men age, testosterone does not suddenly disappear, but its signaling becomes less efficient. Reduced blood flow, chronic stress, poor sleep, and nerve desensitization all interfere with how hormonal messages are delivered and received. When the brain receives weaker signals, it interprets this as reduced vitality, which subtly affects confidence. Circulation is one of the most important factors in hormonal communication. Hormones travel through the bloodstream. If blood flow is sluggish, hormonal signals reach their targets more slowly or less effectively. This can result in feeling flat, uncertain, or disconnected from one's physical self. Improved circulation helps restore clearer hormonal messaging, which often leads to noticeable changes in mood and self-perception. Then, before physical performance improves, nerve signaling adds another layer to this cycle. The nervous system constantly sends feedback to the brain about the body's state. When nerve signals from the lower body are weak or inconsistent, the brain interprets this as reduced physical readiness. Over time, this creates hesitation and doubt. A man may still want to feel confident and capable, but his body does not fully confirm those feelings. This mismatch slowly erodes self-trust. When circulation and nerve communication begin to improve, the effect is often subtle but powerful. Men frequently report feeling more grounded, calmer, and mentally present. These changes are signs that the parasympathetic nervous system is becoming more active, supporting hormonal balance and reducing stress hormones like cortisol. Lower cortisol allows testosterone activity to function more effectively, even if absolute hormone levels do not dramatically change. The balance matters more than the number. Confidence grows naturally when the body starts responding again. A small physical improvement can trigger a large psychological shift. When a man notices that his body is more responsive, whether through better sleep, warmer sensations, or occasional morning firmness,